Well, I'm what you might call an autodidact. That's a fancy word that means self-taught. I went to University of Michigan up in Ann Arbor, which is a great school, but I don't like to rest on any of my academic bona fides because I don't have a lot. I'm not a PhD. I'm not a professor, but all of the things that I've learned about class consciousness have come from books and just educating myself, like you say. And it's not impossible to do. A normal person can move through the world and understand these concepts. And I feel like a lot of people already kind of get the idea before they even hear the words class consciousness.
Mm.
We know that rich people basically run our society. That's not saying that isn't shocking, and it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just the facts of the matter. And it's been that way for a long, long time. But it doesn't have to stay that way. It's possible for the people to be empowered and to make changes that benefit the mass population.
You mentioned class consciousness, and you went to college. I went to college. I enjoy the books that you read, and we'll talk about that later. But you grew up in the Michigan area. And so what was
That's
it
right.
like growing up for you before you even got to being awakened? Let's call it what it is with class consciousness. What was it like growing up for you as a young man in Michigan?
I was always a good student. I never found it super difficult to get A's and B's in school, so I'm lucky in that way. But I always had what you might call an anti-authoritarian streak. I've always had a hard time with people who want to boss you around because they're in charge. And it can be a small thing. It can be like a security guard at a store,
Mhm.
or a lifeguard at the pool, or it could be a teacher or a vice principal at your school. Like, people who are empowered with some level of authority and think that they can tell you what to do, tell you what to think. And I've always resisted that. I've always
Mhm.
had a hard time with that. And I know that's not uncommon. I know a lot of people feel that way. But I think in this day and age, and this society especially, there's a real pressure to follow the leader or follow authority. And I'm just here to reject that entirely.
The way I want to do this show, and I'm gonna let the viewers understand because we're definitely gonna do a part two because your story is so impactful and engageable. And for the ones who are in the same boat as you were, will get the message. Those that don't get the message, we're going to make them understand why they should today. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with at least one of the books. We're going to go through all 8 books that shape you. And I'm going to tell the audience why we're going to do this in part 1. Because at first we just going to do 30 minutes. I was like, no, we can't put this in a 30-minute, but we can start with the journey on what led this whole class consciousness. Because I think in order for people to understand anything, you have to start from the beginning.